Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Oakley Burton, and this is my presentation of my dissertation research on post-war design optimism of how Franco Scaglione contributed to this movement. Let's delve in further. So, the genesis of the automobile. In the beginning it is to have said that Henry Ford created the automobile. However, historians find this inaccurate, as it is accredited to Carl Benzer's patent Motorwagen, which inspired the Paris to Rouen race in 1894 for automobile racing, which then led to Henry Ford pursuing the idea for affordable automobiles for the masses. This had turned not America into an industrial giant, and also Detroit into a boomtown, or nicknamed Motor City. Setting the scene, in 1929 the stock market broke on Wall Street in New York City. This was due to a panic buying scheme that then had led to America almost being left broke. America turned to its European allies from its agreement from the First World War, calling out on their debts that they had owed. Europe, being more tied up with their situation, had to face the endeavour. However, this had created even more tensions in Europe, resulting into creating actions towards the Second World War. America not just having its own depression to deal with, but also with the dustbin bowl epidemic, resulting in even more struggles throughout the 1930s, in not just resulting of the stock market, but also with the agricultural industry. So with optimism required more than ever during the Great Depression, Chrysler tried to make a comeback with the Chrysler Airflow, a streamlined vehicle that was radical for its time. However, this was ineffective as it was very expensive. However, this came with the new idea for a concept car, which was then later released by General Motors, known as the Buick Y-Job. This was radical again for its time, as it had features such as pop-up headlights and automatic wind-down windows. This was unlike anything for its time, as you can see in the middle. With this, though, President Roosevelt also pushed harder for more optimism being boosted out of America, unveiling the New York World's Fair, showcasing radical designs from all across the globe, and also what America was doing in terms of boosting morale in its own country. However, the outbreak of the Second World War concluded this fair. However, it had created a phoenix, such as the Alfa Romeo 2500 Speciale, as you can see on the top right, where this car was created from the ashes of the Second World War using spare parts of metal to create this beautiful car, which was then later unveiled at the Paris Automotive Show in 1946. So, with the dawn of the 50s, embracing the new ideals that was influenced from the 40s, but also keeping some of the trends from the 30s as its basis, new push further with new design philosophy of excessive design, such as the films produced by Hollywood and what was coming out of the automotive industry, as can be seen in the video from Diane Shaw advertising Chevrolet, as she would sing "See You the USA in your Chevrolet." Also, from Italy, however, they were heavily influenced by America at the time and wanted this sense of optimism. Therefore, they played the song Tu Fave Americano, which means, do you want to be an American? So this would lead on to the main question. Who is Franco Scaglione? Franco Scaglione studied aeronautical engineering before the Second World War, then was later he was then later assigned to the Italian army and was fighting during the Second World War until his capture by the British in 1941 and wasn't released until 1946. With his release, Franco returned back to Italy and was a freelance designer who was desperate to get a job in an automotive company, and this had taken him a little while until he had managed to have a contract that was agreed by him and Nuccio Bertone for Franco Scaglione to work at Bertone, creating some of these beautiful cars here, such as the Fiat Abarth concept. As you can see of the illustration on the top right, and also the Abarth concept image in the middle on the left. Also, you can see that he created the Alfa Romeo Sprint Speciale at the bottom left, and the Aston Martin DB2/4. These were his designs whilst at Bertone, and this is just some of his greatest work. The Alfa Romeo Bat cars are probably considered to be the best cars for Franco Scaglione's portfolio, as these cars not just revolutionised Franco Scaglione's design thinking, but also Alfa Romeo as a brand. However, with these designs, they didn't just show aerodynamic use in terms of reducing drag, but also the use of how streamlining can be used to reduce the drag efficiency, as this was 0.16 in terms of drag efficiency, which is unlike anything even to this day. The Lamborghini GTV 350 concept, probably one of my favourite designs of Franco, as this had a bit of a rub of the magic effect from the Bat cars. However, because of its design, it's just so elegant for its just minimal design-like qualities. However, with this though, the real production, as you can see on the right in the middle, was the final outcome, which I felt just did not reflect what Franco had created, as you can see on the left, as it's just a beautiful design. However, this car was the founding design for Lamborghini as a company and would lead on to many great cars that would come later from Lamborghini. So the Prince Skyline Sprint 1900 is probably one of the rarest cars to see, due to it being a concept car, but also that being part of the Nissan Corporation, which was hidden for many years. This design was heavily built upon by Franco Scaglione and Mr. Takayashi Inao, as he taught Franco the design aesthetics for Japanese cultural design, and Franco taught Mr. Takayashi Inao on how to embrace Italian design culture into design. However, with this design concept though, it never saw the light of day due to the demise of Prince Automotive Group. The Alfa Romeo 33 Stradale, probably one of my other favourite designs of Franco Scaglione, but also one of the biggest car design icons of the 1960s to have come from Alfa Romeo, not just for the beauty of its design, but also for the radical thinking of its design, such as the magnesium chassis, the aerodynamic design of Franco Scaglione influence into the design, and also just the onus of it being a street race car, as stradale literally means street. Unfortunately, due to the production of this car, it was so massively expensive due to the production of it, and only created 18 of them. However, only 8 survive to this day. So, Intermechanica, a company that would be Franco Scaglione's final bow as a designer. Unfortunately, with the production of Intermechanica, as it was very hopeful for the company, as it was embracing engineering from Opel, from Germany, the use of American power from Chevrolet, and Italian exotic design from Franco. Unfortunately, though, due to the oil crisis of 1973, this would be the end and sealment for Franco as a designer, as he just spiraled into depression due to his efforts in trying to revive the company and keep it going. So, Franco Scaglione's influence. You can see from the bat cars in the centre on how they influenced these designs, such as the Oldsmobile Golden Rocket on what you can see on the left, or Chevrolet's Corvette Stingray on the right. These bat cars really influence the designs, as you can see the aesthetics of bat-like wings influencing aircraft fins, or you can see the protrusions of like front noses of fighter aircraft. These designs are what then pushed further the influence and need of Franco Scaglione of the 1950s, as these designers would come and visit him personally for this influence. Franco Scaglione's legacy. The cars here are just some attributes to just the inspiration of Franco Scaglione, such as the Bugatti Chiron 300 as just the aerodynamic killer beast of our time, of achieving 300 miles an hour, which is incredible for a production car. And also the use of McLaren's push for aerodynamic design that is inspired by biomimicry, that is to have said to come from Frank Stevenson, probably one of our greatest designers still with us. Also, the Lamborghini Sian on the middle left is an attribute to the evolution of Lamborghini and in still embracing some of its cultural heritage that comes from Franco. But also with this, such as unique companies like Touring with their Aero 3 on the top right, and also the influence of hand-built cars such as these cars on this page, were just the push from Franco using effective, talented, hand-built designs that not just look great but also are made to feel amazing due to the energy put into these cars. Also, the likes of concept cars such as the Mercedes concept on the bottom left are the frontier for what is next to come in the future of concept cars, not just concept but even production cars. So, I conclude my presentation. Thank you very much for listening, and may we remember Franco Scaglione not for just the designs that he's developed, but for us having dreams, and not just dreams, but for pursuing the excellence in not just design, but art and the rest of life in general. Thank you.